Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be looking at how to interpret the search results that you find in DragonQuest. We're going to talk about how to tell what type of resource you're looking at when you're scrolling through those search results, how to narrow things down to things that you can immediately access in full text versus things that you'll have to request through our interlibrary loan process, and we'll take a peek under the hood at those search results so you can tell what you're looking at, what kind of resource it is, how long it is, all of the different tidbits that you're going to eventually need when you start building out in-text citations and references. Got a fair bit to cover today, so let's dive right in. So you've done a DragonQuest search. You're exploring the databases and you've found some resources that sound interesting. They sound like things that you can use for your paper. So what do you do next? If I click on this link, it's going to take me to this landing page that is about the resource. It's going to tell me the name, the title of my journal article, or whatever other type of resource I'm looking at. It's also going to tell me where it came from, where it was published. This is going to tell me important pieces of information like the journal that this was published in, when it was published, which we'll see in other videos is very important for assessing how valuable this resource is to you. The volume and issue number, which are important for building out those citations that we're going to talk about later, and then also the page range. This will give you an idea of how long this resource is. So it starts at page 696 and ends at 710. That's a total of 15 pages. Now, I might decide that that is perfect and I want to read all 15 pages. I might decide that's too long or too short, depending on the project that I'm working on. It's not necessarily critical to look at that page length, but it does help me to budget my time. I'll also see all of the authors who were responsible for making this journal article come into existence. In the sciences, you're going to see a lot longer lists of authors. In the humanities, it might be one or two people. We're also going to see subject terms over here that suggest other areas where I could expand my search. Things that show up with this resource, think of them like hashtags on Instagram. These are your metadata tags. They describe what this article is about in one or two words. And that will help me to get an idea for what this resource is all about. But if I scroll down a little further, I'll see a description or sometimes an abstract that's going to tell me in a paragraph form what this article is all about. It's going to tell me about the methods that were used. It's going to tell me in brief what the results were. This is the back cover of a book, only a little bit better because it also tells you the ending of that book. Between the page length and this description or abstract, those are the main things that I'm going to be looking for to decide whether or not I want to use this resource. So let's say that I've read this abstract and I've decided that this resource looks really good, something that I can use in my research. If I scroll down, there's an access URL here that should take me to the resource. And if I click on it, this is what I'm going to see. This is the same article from the publisher website. However, what I'm running into here is a paywall. I can add this item to my cart, I can pay for it, but never ever do that. At least not without trying this interlibrary loan feature first. So the interlibrary loan option is going to take me to a form that I can fill out my details. The library barcode, if you haven't used it before, is going to be your student ID number followed by the letters TUP, Tiffin University patron, all in capital letters and with no spaces. If you don't know that offhand, you can put any sort of character in there just as a placeholder, and we'll process that on the back end. Don't worry too much about that. Don't let that stop you. And you'll see that below I have all of the details about my resource that I want to gather. I've got the title here, I've got the journal that it came from, the author, when it was published, a DOI is a digital object identifier. It's like a barcode for that resource that leads only to that resource. Makes it much easier to find. And when I filled out this form, I'll just click on submit. So what that'll do is that's going to send an interlibrary loan request to the library. That will be processed and sent out to other libraries throughout the country. And typically within about 3 to 5 business days, one of those libraries will scan a copy of this article and send it back to Pfeiffer Library. We will then send that out to you, and you'll be able to access your resource. So the interlibrary loan system is very powerful. Great way to get behind paywalls, either of resources that you find in DragonQuest or that you find in a Google search. And really useful if you do it early. That 3 to 5 business day lead time is going to mean that this isn't a process you can do on Sunday night when a paper is due at midnight. It's going to have to be one that you do earlier on in the research process. And then just one last thing, looking back through our results list, I see the article that I clicked on. I see that this is an academic journal article. I also see that right off the bat, I know that I was going to need to request this through interlibrary loan, that there's not a full text option that's readily available, compared to some of these other options that do have full text available from the publisher. If I keep scrolling down, there are others that I can just click on and go directly to the article. Most of the resources you see here are academic journals, but there are also ebooks and other types of resources that are going to identify themselves a report here with that icon and a descriptor right before it. That's how you'll be able to tell what you're looking at. And with that, you have a much better understanding of the search results that you're looking at when you do a DragonQuest search. You'll be able to tell what type of resource you're looking at and whether you'll have immediate access to it just at a glance. You'll also know where to look to collect all of the pieces of information that you're going to need later on when you build your in-text citations and your references list for your resources. If you have any questions as you continue your research process, feel free to reach out to the library at library@tiffin.edu or to me directly at gilmerjm@tiffin.edu. Good luck with your research, and we'll see you in the next one.